weren't even playing a game.
He's here.
It's okay.
It's like, here, get my broken arm. Make it work. Look, I got my down. And it was at like 2%.
What? We won't
While
go inside,
charging.
just look through the windows.
And then it died.
The party room.
While charging.
That's a whole
Yes. Oh, yes, yes.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So good to be together on this night of prayer and song and study and celebration to form this spiritual community that we'll be traveling with together for the next hour or so. I want to make a request before we start. If you can just take a moment to make sure that your cell phones are off, that would help make sure that the community we build here won't be interrupted for the next hour or so. And it's also real embarrassing if your phone goes off during services. So let's take a second, make sure our phones are off. While you've done that, I want to take just a second, after having welcomed everybody all together, to call out a couple of groups specifically for some particular welcome and mention. I want to welcome our visitors tonight who are with us from First Methodist Houston downtown. We're so thrilled that you are here to help us celebrate and sing and learn tonight. I also want to offer a word of welcome to the members of the board of the National Association of Temple Administration who are here this evening and this week for their board meeting. We are delighted that they are here and we have a chance to host the NATA board as they do the holy and important work that they do. This is also a great weekend of celebration and joy for Jonah Miller and Emily Williams and their families, and so I want to invite Jonah and Emily, along with their parents, to the bima to lead us in the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
You're going to do one and one song.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
If you've got a prayer book in front of you, I want to invite you to join us now on page 13 for a piece of music. The words of this piece of music begin 4 lines from the bottom of that page, page 13.
And the words mean, I love these words, the fields and everything in them exult, and then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy. Oh, I'm sorry. There it is. Ya Allah. Bechol asher bo, ya Allah Sadai.
On page 20 now, we welcome Shabbat with the words of Lecha Dodi. Page 20.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Shamor v'zachor v'diborecha, Yishmi'anu et hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'nitila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat.
לקראת שבת לכו נרחב, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם לסוכה, סוף מעשה מחשבה תהילה.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki ha'orek u'mihori, uri uri shir tameri, Ribon Adonai alay tila. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat.
Face the door to welcome Shabbat, verse 9.
בואי ושלום עטרת בלב, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Kabbalat.
We'll remain standing for just a few more minutes, and before we continue with our next prayer, would you take just a moment and wish a Shabbat Shalom to someone nearby?
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We will make our way back now, friends, still standing. We'll continue on this musical supplement that should be tucked inside your Shabbat handouts.
Yalalai, lai, lai. 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 Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? prayer for the evening roll into dark. And I think I have someone who needs to help. Yeah? Want to help? Right here? Not tonight? All right. You'll help right there, okay? Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Let's all try that. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns. Keep that going. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes stormy, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Then all shines day turns. Roll into dark, roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai, Amari Varavim.
Back in our prayer books now, we turn to page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
It is a pleasure for me to invite Emily Williams to the Bima to lead her congregation in prayer. We continue on page 36 of our books.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ילדיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
On page 39 now, let's continue at the top of the page responsively by paragraph. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot.
That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness.
That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. On page 43, we continue now with this evening time prayer with which we commit ourselves to the work of cultivating love and understanding within and among us.
And these words, the English is on page 43 at the top, and the Hebrew is on page 42.
Friendship be our shelter from life.
and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
As we continue into the Amidah, the central section of our worship service, it is a pleasure for me to invite Jonah Miller to the Bima to lead us in prayer. The Amidah begins on page 46. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel Ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ve'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zocher Hasei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mehayeh HaKol Atara Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Marid HaGashem Mehalkel Hayim Behesed Mehayeh HaKol Ve'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Ve'Rofeh Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Baal Geverot U'Mido Melach Melech Memit U'Mechaye U'Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Atalech HaChayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yechalu HaSela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
You may be seated. At the top of page 59, let's read together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lehodot. We continue on page 60 with our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom.
We take a moment for our own individual silent prayer.
Say shalom, shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Uya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael
Adding to the prayers of our hearts, we take a moment now to offer a communal mishaberach, a prayer for healing. And we'll turn once again to these music supplements for the words that we'll be praying together. As we prepare to sing and to pray, we turn our thoughts to the members of our community, of this congregation and beyond its walls, to think about those we love who are on this Shabbat in need of healing or relief or recovery. Tonight, we offer this mishaberach for Bradley Borden, Jennifer Carey, Michelle Cohen, Miles Cohn, Maya Crater, Jay Empel, Roseanne Finkel, Alan Garber, Ellie and Leah Jakubowicz, Sarah James, Leon Kier, Lawrence Levy, Nakia Martin Rivera, Jesse Vasquez, Carol Wasserstein, Roger Williams, Baruch Leib Ben Tevya, and Yaakov Ben Gedalia Veruth.
Mishaberach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzhak, ve'Yaakov.
Tonight we have a number of other blessings of gratitude and recognition here in our community. And first, I want to invite Rhoda and Nate Miller, please, to rise. Rhoda and Nate, in addition to being grandparents of our bar mitzvah this weekend, are also fresh off the celebration of their 54th anniversary. The Millers are celebrating triple high, so it is an appropriate time for a blessing. Before a word of blessing, I just want to acknowledge one of the things that the Torah says when offering God's hope for what it and vision of what it means to live a blessed life. God tells the people, or evanim livanecha, that you should grow to see the son of your son. That's what it means to live a blessed life. So what a great opportunity it is to see the son of your son and to celebrate this milestone of your love and your life together. And we ask God's blessing on you. Oh God, may this loving couple be granted many more years of vigor and love and joy. May they be granted many more opportunities to celebrate, many more opportunities to gather with friends and family and loved ones. We ask your blessing and we acknowledge our many gifts with words of Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'hegianu lazman. We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life and sustaining us and bringing us to this opportunity to celebrate. Amen. Mazel tov. Happy anniversary. And now I want to invite our friends, our guests, who are on the board of the National Association of Temple Administration, please to stand. The NATA board is here for a few days of work, but they are also here appropriately for a few moments of prayer and contemplation and learning. And so we want to ask God's blessing on them as well, in recognition of the good work that they do and the service that they provide to their congregations and to our movement. For these words of blessing, one more word of acknowledgement to recognize David Lambden, our executive director, who serves as one of the vice presidents of this illustrious board. Mishaberach avotenu Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hamanhigim ha'eleh. O God, you have blessed every generation of our people in the past, our fathers and our mothers, our sages and our teachers, and we ask your blessing on these leaders representing Jewish communities all around North America. We ask that you continue to sustain them, strengthen them in the work they do of sustaining their own communities. It is their hard work and their dedication that makes it possible for their synagogue's members to engage in the work of prayer and the study of Torah, the deeds of conscience and loving kindness that are the ethical heritage and the spiritual essence of our Jewish people. O God, we are thankful on this Shabbat for their leadership and dedication and commitment to the well-being of their congregations and to all who make their spiritual homes there. Grant success to their endeavors, and may the sacred work of their hands flourish. And we say together, Amen. Thank you. A couple of brief words of announcement and acknowledgement this evening. We hope that you'll stay with us through the end of our service tonight when we'll offer the blessings of Kiddush and Motzi as a community. This week, the challah and wine over which we'll offer those blessings have been provided by the Siegel, Miller, and Williams families in honor of this weekend's B'nai Mitzvah. We are grateful to them for their generosity. If you picked up a Shabbat handout on your way in, you can find some information about upcoming events in our community on the back of it. There's information on each of these online and in our bulletin. Just a few quick highlights. Our Brotherhood will be going on a barbecue crawl Sunday, February 23rd at 1. David, I don't know if the NATA board can stick around to go on the barbecue crawl. Sunday, February 23rd, 1 p.m. There is still space available, but you must RSVP so we know to save room for you. Purim is right around the corner at Emanu. The Purim Spiel will be happening 10 o'clock a.m. Sunday, March 8th, with our Purim Carnival to follow. All of us are welcome for that morning of celebration and silliness and fun. Lastly, as we've spoken about before on this bima, the elections for the World Zionist Organization, the World Zionist Congress, are currently underway. We ask that you please take about 3 minutes to vote online to do your part in helping our movement further pluralism and advance democracy in Israel It is especially important to those of us who believe in the importance of religious pluralism and the recognition of Reform and Conservative Judaism in Israel. There's more information in your Shabbat handout and online, and I'll be happy to answer more questions if you've got after the service. And thanks to those of you that have taken a few minutes to make your voices heard and register your vote. And now I will say that it is a great delight and a beautiful moment of synchronicity that we've got so many guests and visitors and new friends who are with us, those that are new to this congregation and this community tonight, because the Torah portion this week highlights twice an ethical commandment that is of central importance to our community that's repeated again and again, the commandment to love and care for the stranger to your community. It is, as you may know, the most often repeated ethical commandment in the Torah. It appears more often and is repeated with greater emphasis than any of the others, the commandments about honoring the Sabbath or upholding the holidays, more than the commandments about the things that we are to eat or to avoid eating, more than the commandments to look after our parents even, is the commandment to look after the stranger, those who are marginalized and vulnerable. And the Torah takes pains to remind us that that commandment comes to us specifically because our people knows what it means personally to live life at the world's margins. Now this week, when that mitzvah is repeated, when that commandment comes to us, it appears placed in a unique context, paired with a different commandment that I've spoken about in the past because I love it so much. And here's how these two commandments sound right next to each other. When you see your enemy's donkey struggling under its burden, and you feel hesitant to raise it, nevertheless, you must help him lift up the animal. You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the soul of the stranger, because you were strangers in the land of Egypt. The fact that the Torah connects the mitzvah about honoring and caring for the stranger with the one about how to treat livestock belonging to your enemy might lead us to assume that what the Torah wants to legislate here is our internal emotional landscape. Maybe it makes a point of specifying that this rule applies to the animal belonging to your enemy specifically because it wants us to be cautious about our feelings of anger, resentment, and hostility, and cautions us to prevent them from spreading and compromising the sympathetic feelings we have when we see an animal suffering. We might assume that this verse forbidding us to oppress the stranger is essentially an obligation to tame the inner self, to control our thoughts, our ideas, and our feelings. But I think that that interpretation of the verse is incorrect. I think that because the verse about loving the stranger is placed where it is, right next to the verse about the donkey, because the Torah recognizes that all of us do at times have reluctant or uncharitable feelings about other people, and it wants to assure us that that's okay. Because God is less interested in legislating our feelings than our actions. Our feelings don't disqualify us from holiness. What matters is the things that we do. Loving the stranger, this juxtaposition teaches us, loving the stranger doesn't mean feeling affection for him in your heart. It means getting on your feet, standing next to him, and helping him lift up that donkey. I want to tell you a story tonight about one block of a street in Toronto. The street is called Kingston Road, and on that block of Kingston Road, there is a flower shop. The florist's name is Andy, and Andy is part of a large Asian family that immigrated to Canada several generations ago. And that flower shop has been in Andy's family for more than 40 years. But over the past few weeks, Andy noticed that business was starting to dwindle and his profits were starting to subside. He wasn't sure what was behind the drop in his sales until a couple of weeks ago, when a woman came into his shop and promptly unleashed on Andy a blistering string of racist slurs and xenophobic abuses, culminating with an accusation that Toronto's Chinese community is responsible for spreading the coronavirus to Canada. And then, he said, everything became clear in a horrible moment of realization. That's why no one's shopping here anymore, he thought. They see me as a carrier of the virus. They see me, and they see the face of infection and disease. Andy said that confrontation with that woman was the single most offensive thing that had ever happened to him, and that it left him shaken more than any other moment he can remember as a business owner or as a Canadian citizen. Now, on the same block of Kingston Road, right next door to Andy's flower shop, there's a butcher shop. And the butcher is a white Jewish guy named David. David knows Andy, but he hadn't known about what happened in that racist incident until he read a story about it in the newspaper. And when he read the story, he felt the urge to stand up for his friend and do something. David tells us that he didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but as soon as he read the story, he went online and put up a post on his butcher shop's Facebook page, and in it he encouraged the community to come in and buy some flowers from his friend. He wanted everyone to make a point of supporting Andy's store as a way of actively resisting the whispering xenophobia that treats others as vectors of contagion and illness. And as an extra incentive, he said, if you bring me the receipt from your flowers into the butcher shop, I'll treat you to a free hamburger. The post went up a couple of weeks ago, and by the time a story about it was printed in the newspaper yesterday, David's Facebook post had reached more than 200,000 people. And Andy's flower shop had sold out of its entire inventory. And David, who was expecting to give away a couple of dozen burgers, maybe as many as 50, he thought, wound up giving away close to 800 hamburgers to everyone who came to shop at his neighbor's store. Now, of course, the reporters came out and everyone wanted to interview David about his decision, and they wanted to know why he did what he did, what inspired him to make that offer and put up that post on social media. And when they asked him those questions, he answered immediately by mentioning his Jewish identity, even though, it must be said, he's not an especially observant guy. He said that when he read that first news story about the racist abuse his friend had been subjected to and about the way his business had suffered, he just asked himself, what can I do to help this guy out? I'm quoting David here. He said, maybe it's a Jewish value ingrained in me. I don't know. It just seemed like the right thing to do. Now, it is perfect timing that the story about this episode ran in Toronto's paper yesterday, and the Jewish value he's talking about happens to be one that appears in this week's Torah portion. That commandment to cultivate and nurture empathy for strangers and for those who are treated like strangers. Because it's worth pointing out that Andy was born in Toronto and lived his whole life there. But that woman's racism exposed the fact that despite that truth, there will always be those who see Andy and his family as strangers. David the butcher said, it just seemed like the right thing to do. But in our Jewish terminology, we would call what he did a kiddush Hashem. We call it an act that brings honor to the Jewish community and to God. I learned that when David grew up, his was the only Jewish family in a very small town on the shore of Lake Huron. Maybe that was the thing that gave him a heightened consciousness about being an outsider and being sensitive to other people's feelings. But here's the thing. David is the hero of this story not because of his feelings. He's the hero of this story, and he did a Kiddush Hashem not because of what he felt in his heart, but because he wasn't satisfied with having sensitive, charitable feelings. Feelings are great, but feelings aren't enough. Love isn't enough. If the only thing we take away from this week's Torah portion is that we should cultivate a deeper emotional connection to other people, that's not enough either. The mitzvah about loving the stranger is placed next to the rules about lifting up the donkey, because our ethical imperative is to see the people who are burdened and to help them get up, to get into the mud and brace ourselves firmly and lift, even when it's hard. We don't have donkeys anymore, but all of us have burdens that weigh us down. All of us struggle, and all of us hurt, and all of us wonder sometimes about which of our friends and neighbors will show up to help us lift. And when we suffer, yes, we need love. But when we are weighed down, we are helped less by love than by leverage. Leverage can look a lot of different ways. It can look like wealth, or political connections, or hamburgers. All of us have a different measure of leverage, and whatever it looks like, we are called upon to use it to ease the burdens of others. So on this Shabbat, when we are called again insistently to love and care for and look after the stranger, I want to ask all of us to take a few moments this weekend to think about what our leverage is, how we will use it. Will we open our eyes to see the burdens borne by others? Will we see those who are lost and alone? And will we at last come to stand by them and offer them our hands and our knees and our backs and help them rise? Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Back in our prayer books now, friends, we'll turn to the bottom half of page 282 and rise for Aleinu, page 282 at the bottom.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום
We turn now to the work of memory, and our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones and those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We take just a moment now to be alone with our memories of those we have loved and lost. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. On this Shabbat, the hearts of our congregation go out in sadness and sympathy to the families of Melvin Buster Feldman, Jay Ignatoff, and Robert Louis, who were laid to rest in recent days. To their names we add these, the names of those whose yahrzeits fall at the season. We remember Sidney Aronson, Charles Benjamin, Bernard Bench, Nathan S. Berg, Boris Barach, Minnie Wise Birnbaum, John Black, Irene Lieberman Bornet, Tom Brom, Vicky Briers, Rose Kaplowitz, Josephine Coben, Richard Coffin, Terry Coleman, Samuel Paul Kaminsky, Ben H. Daly, Leo Dubinsky, Jack Ehrlich, Daniel Feinstein, Jack Feldman, L. Bennett Fenberg, Max Finkelstein, Madeline Feldman Foreman, Richard F. Fox, Marion Franklin, Ronald Freed, Ben Friedberger, Annie R. Frieden, Sam M. Frucht, Thelma Gerson, Rosella Glick, Henry Goldberg, Meyer Goldofsky, Abe Halfant, Rosa Hayden, Max Herman Herstein, Peter Hochschild, Ruth Jacobs, Joyce Elaine Jacobs, Yetta Jacobs, Abe Jacobson, Esther B. Jessel, Rabbi Louis Josephson, Marjorie Kamen, Chester Kaplan, Charles Keeler, Frida Kleiman, Dorothy L. Cosberg, Tito Crone, Myrtle LeBeau, Mark Leventhal, Raisa Levinas, Harry Levitt, Edith Cobble-Levy, Fanny Lipnick, Martha Klein-Lotman, Florence Margolis, Alex Michalak, Carol S. Miller, Pauline Barabas Miller, George Neff, Stanley Novak, Dorothy Penner, Nathan Petrovsky, Geraldine S. Phillips, Harry Pulaski, Harry Aaron Rychek, Helen Pasternak Rychek, Becky Rice, Jeanette Rosen, Morris Rosen, Leah Rubenstein, Lester Riley Ruffin, Richard Melvin Sachs, Pat Lesser Sampson, Rose J. Shaps, Robert Shear, Harry Schnitzer, Alfred Selsky, Julia Sepper, Joseph C. Shields, Betty Shulak, Esther Silverblatt, Ruth Levy Simon, Fanny Schnitzer, Sadie Solomon, Sylvia P. Strauss, Ruth Weinman, Helen Weisberg, Sylvia Weiss, Arthur B. Westerman, Harvey White, Sophie Ann Williamson, Fanny Wilson, Harris Whittles, David Wolosky, and Harold Wormser. The memories of all of them are with us as we turn to page 294 and rise for the recitation of Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chai echon u'vyom echon u'chai b'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemayam, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
I want to invite invite our B'nai Mitzvah back up to the bima to assist us in the blessings of Kiddush and Motzi as Jonah and Emily and their siblings and cousins make their way up here. I'll invite you to follow along with us on page 5 of your prayer books.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh Barish ki hu yom tehillah lemikra kodesh zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim ki vanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim. L'chala? L'chala?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Our closing song is back on page 13, Ya'alo Sadai.
Eternal Spirit of the universe, grant us blessing as we go forth from this place. Bless us with love and learning and light. May we go forth from this place to goodness and peace and life. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Ya'alo Sadai.
it's just a little compact for this kind of thing, you know? Not too much. Not too much. Need to be felt and not necessarily hard. Yeah, there we go.